Hey, this is Ben, and in this video we're going to be looking at the definition of the word Lightworker. So if you've been paying any attention to what's been happening in the world lately, you'll notice that there's been a lot more awakening happening. There's been a lot of raising of consciousness. Okay, people are becoming a lot more concerned with the environment. The internet is bringing people a lot closer together. There's a lot less lies that people are willing to fall for these days. And there's a general raising of consciousness. You know, there's a surge towards eating more healthy, spirituality, towards a breaking down of the separation between different nations. And, you know, I'm not going to pretend there's not a whole lot more ignorance than there ever was today. That's also the case. But if you pay attention to the broader picture, there's a great rising of consciousness happening in the world right now. And if you ask yourself the question why that is, well, yeah, we've got driving factors like the internet, education. There's generally a whole lot more conversation going on around big topics in the world. But if you look at the New Age worldview, which is an interesting one, there is this term called Lightworker, which basically describes a group of people. It's really just a label. It's a label for any person who is bringing more light into the world. Okay? We're not talking about more physical light. We're talking, of course, about spiritual light, good vibes, good juju, positive goodness, just general feelings of well-being, positivity and happiness. And it's quite an interesting theory, right? And it's been something I've been looking into myself. It goes way back to the traditions of early mystics who would describe prophets and saints and holy people as workers of light. So that's kind of where the term originates, and then the whole New Age worldview jumped on board and kind of took it to the next level, to what we have today, where you can jump on the internet, you can research, you can type in Lightworker, and you'll find thousands, tens of thousands of results. So what really is a Lightworker? Well, there's a couple of different ideas, but I found one particularly interesting account in a book by a woman called Dolores Cannon. Dolores Cannon, who's a hypnotherapist, been working around the world for many, many decades, was very influential throughout the 20th century. And what Cannon found was that she would take people into these deep hypnotic states where they would be completely unconscious, so completely in their subconscious. And what you would find with many of these people, not just dozens of cases or hundreds of cases, but thousands upon thousands of cases, was that as she interviewed these people in these deep hypnotic states, they would start to describe things that were completely out of this world. Okay? So these individual subjects would start to talk about coming from different places in the galaxy, coming from other worlds. And so what she found as she continued to interview these people and ask them about where they came from, what their purpose was on Earth, was there was this recurring theme of people coming to Earth, or beings coming to Earth, to raise consciousness, to be a light. So that's one quite fascinating documented case of what a light worker could be. Again, just another label, just another possibility. I encourage you to check out Dolores Cannon's book. It's called The 3 Waves of Volunteers. Essentially, if you want to boil it down to its simplest, a light worker is said to be anyone who brings more light into the world through conscious choice. So anyone who's awoken to the fact, or awoken to the stage where they realize that our world needs more consciousness, more light, and they've put their hand up and said, I want to be a part of that. I want to help with that. So why is this important? Why is it important to know about light workers? And how do you identify them even more clearly than what I've just put it? How do you know if you're a light worker, or how do you know a light worker when you see one? Well, again, going off all of the information I've read and experienced firsthand, here are a couple of the signs and symptoms. Although these aren't exhaustive, these aren't complete, these are a couple of the signs and symptoms that will point you towards what a light worker will likely look like, okay? So one of them is this tendency to want to do work or be involved in a career specifically involved with helping someone, specifically involved with helping people. So like all the things I've already mentioned, charitable organizations, social enterprises, so businesses that exist really just to serve other people, not to make a profit, but to build up society in a positive way, okay? Or social workers, you know, nurses, doctors, but particularly there seems to be this pattern, again, it's not an exclusive one, but there seems to be this trend for light workers to gravitate towards healing professions or the healing arts. So if you have found yourself being very interested in energy work, or teaching yoga, or teaching people about nutrition, body work like massage, acupuncture, things like Reiki, okay? Work that involves counseling, coaching, working with people one-on-one, delving into deep emotional issues, dealing with people's trauma. All of these kinds of roles suggest someone who may be a light worker, okay? Another symptom of being a light worker, or another symptom that might suggest you are a light worker, would be a feeling of alienation from the world, okay? A feeling like you don't belong, like you don't quite fit in. This is a very common trait, especially if you put it with the trait of being an empath. I'm not going to go into depth about what an empath is in this video, but basically someone who feels the energy of other people, feels the emotions of other people. This would characterize an empath and feels that very strongly. Someone with a lot of compassion, whether they choose it or not, okay? You just automatically feel what other people feel. So that would be another strong symptom of being a light worker. Feeling of distance and a feeling of deep empathy at the same time. So there are a couple of the common ones. So if this resonates with you, or if you notice this in other people, or if you notice yourself feeling gravitated towards this, then what does this mean? Like, why does any of this matter to you? Well, the reason I made this video is because I have had the first-hand experience of seeing a lot of people who fall into this, you know, this rough category, this, you know, type of being. They experience life this way. And again, light work is just a word, just a label. But there are definitely a lot of people who feel this, that I've worked with, that I've spoken to, who feel like they just don't belong, but they feel like they've got a mission here somehow, okay? They feel like they may have come from another place, they feel like they may have previous lives, and they feel like they're specifically put here, even though it's uncomfortable. They want to help people, but they're just not sure how to go about it. So if this is you, then there's a couple of things I'd suggest. First of all is get to know your higher self, or get to know your subconscious, or whatever that is for you. Get to know that part of you which you can trust, that part of you which has guided you through life up until this point, that part of you which has always led you through your intuition to make the right decisions, to make the right choices. Spend time and get intentional about getting to know that part of yourself, because that's the part of you which is going to reveal what it is you're meant to be doing here, which isn't always just going out and being a healer, okay? You can be a light worker in any domain, in any field. You can be an accountant, you can be a fireman, you can be a gardener. It doesn't really matter what you're doing. By virtue of being a light worker, your very presence is going to be changing the atmosphere. Just by the fact that you're vibrating at a higher frequency, some might say, or your level of consciousness is higher than the average person, which isn't to say that's better or worse at all. It's just to say that you're just more in tune with what's going on. So again, I made this video to show you that your role is important, and it is very important that you find out, if you don't have clarity on that, what your particular role is here. Why are you here? What's your purpose? For many people, as highlighted in the 3 waves of volunteers, for many people, their purpose is literally just to be, okay? To literally be and to allow their presence to emanate into the environment around them. And that's their purpose. And that is a very noble purpose. No better or worse than someone who's called to be a great healer or a teacher or anything like that. So I really encourage you, if this video resonates with you, please get intentional about getting to know your higher self, spending more time in meditation, stilling yourself, and discovering why you're here, because that will lay to rest a lot of your anxieties around what you should be doing. If you're feeling out of alignment with your job, or you're feeling like you're with the wrong group of people, or you just don't want to be here at all, this will change everything. So I'll be making more videos on how to drill down deep into that, but I've actually already got a video out about how to connect to your intuition and higher self, which I'll link to, and a couple of videos about meditation, which you can also check out. But I'll be going into this in further detail in future videos. For now, I hope that was illuminating for you. I hope that's given you a bit more clarity on what is a light worker. Please leave your comments below, share this with a friend, hit the like button. Thank you for watching.